My birthday box arrived.
Oh, good. Whew.
Have I told
Oh,
you about our
good.
hot UPS guy?
No, it's like Legally Blonde, right?
Fully looks like the guy from Legally Blonde, and every time I see him, it cracks me up. And he's nice like the Legally Blonde guy. He brings the dog treats and comes up on the porch and has nice conversations. And I was like, ooh, another package. And he goes, wine and chocolate. And I was like, wait, really? He goes, no. He's like, I don't know what's in here.
Everybody
Needs a
needs a
hot
hot UPS
UPS
man in their
guy.
life.
True that.
Uh, you should see my desk right now. There are
Clean or
like
messy?
every ethics book that I own, which is a lot, is open because I'm taking my final.
So after your final, are
And
you done?
no, I still have two capstones.
Two? Oh, we've been over this.
Mm,
But this is
Yeah.
your last regular class.
I'm done with my last regular class. So once you finish all the coursework, then you have to take an exam that basically it's 7 essay questions that cover general topics from the whole process of the education. And then once I submit those essay responses, I have to meet with 2 of the faculty members who grill me on them.
That doesn't
And I
sound
get
particularly fun.
no,
Good luck
so
with that. How many questions do you have left?
well, I have 5 rough drafts done. I have 2 that I have planned. I just have to write them and then I have to clean them all up and then get all the references attached and make sure that I've actually completely answered the prompts because I worry a little bit. They're 400 to 600 words a piece, so I have to be very organized and succinct. I could write a 3,000 word paper on each of these essay topics.
Oh my
So
God.
you kind of have to
Please
pick a
tell me you're
thing.
not like that person in your class that's like your discussion posts are like 1,000 word responses.
I am the most succinct one in my class. I try to come up with something that actually is a little different than what everybody is saying, and I try to be very straightforward and succinct in
Oh,
how I
doobie
write
do
it.
good.
We're limited to 250 words on discussion board posts.
Oh, love that.
Yeah.
I
The
used
ones that
to,
go on and make me nuts.
as I was looking into this, I came to the realization that there might possibly be an option where people could potentially, if only they had the opportunity, discover that horses may recognize people. I hate discussion boards, personally speaking. You know what? I wouldn't like them if they were verbal. It's because they're written. I'm
Oh,
just more
you
of a yapper.
you have cracked me up about discussion boards because way back when you were doing your masters, I remember you saying, "Oh yeah, discussion board posts," and it was new for me. Angela, in my opinion, what you have brought forth is so hilarious. Crack me up.
That's an interesting perspective, Matthew. I
Yeah,
hadn't
thank
quite
you.
looked at it exactly that way before, but I appreciate your looking forward to our next discussion.
I will say these people in this program are so smart and that a lot of what they have to say is quite interesting.
I'm sure it's different than some of the classes that I have taken historically. I think our educations have been rather diverse from one another. I don't think I've taken a science class, to be honest. I took one environmental studies class in college, but I haven't taken a science class since high school, other than that.
Well, honestly, these aren't really science classes. They're
But like
almost
they're like
more
more
like
philosophy.
philosophy and like
Yeah.
sociology,
My college
politics.
classes, one of them was idea smithing, where we all just talked about ideas that we had. One was confidence, where we all learned how to be confident.
Oh, you needed that one.
But those, welcome to journalism school. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I learned a ton. It's just funny. And it's cool. It's cool that there's such different classes. I'm ready for my anatomy class. Speaking
Oh,
of my
anatomy.
science, my continuing my education with science here and now.
What do you love about horses?
They're pretty and they're fluffy. frustrated and I'm also sweating.
That's your fault. All right, let's do an easy one this week. So when somebody says their horse popped a splint, have we talked about that?
Not on here. No.
Okay.
My pony popped a splint. Whatever will I do?
So
What's your question?
what is a splint bone? What are the splint bones?
There are two
Katie Mack.
little splint bones that go down either side of the cannon bone. And they attach to the cannon bone.
Good. So, yeah.
Oh, you look surprised. You look shocked.
Going back to our, what we call the knee is your wrist. So the anatomical term for that is the carpus. So below their knee, which is the equivalent of your wrist, we have the cannon bone, which is that middle bone in your hand. The splint bones are the long bones in your hand that are to either side of that middle one. Your finger, the long bone that leads into your pointer finger, that's the inside splint bone. And the ring finger, the middle bone that extends on out into your ring finger, that's the outside splint bone.
I can feel them wiggling in my hand. I'm playing with them now. I'm playing with my splints.
And you're absolutely correct that there's a little ligament, an interosseous ligament that attaches the splint bone to the cannon bone on both sides. And when they get inflamed, that ligament gets angry and you have what's called a periosteal response that is around the bone and you get a bump. Sometimes you'll have a fracture, a broken little splint bone piece, but a lot of times it's just a bony and ligamentous response to either trauma or stress.
And
so
they
there you
don't
go.
usually cause like long term. It's something to keep an eye on, but not something that typically causes long term issues.
Okay, let's pull out our It Depends t-shirt. Because splints actually can be problematic. So the big ones that you see that poke out to the outside and the inside, those usually don't cause a big problem. But if you get a big one that pokes out to the inside, it can rub on the suspensory ligament. Ligament kind of runs down in between those two splint bones down the back of the cannon bone. And
So
that can be
you
problematic.
do surgery, right? If you needed to, like if it was too close to the suspensor, you could go in and remove like a piece of the fragment.
When you would do surgery on a splint is if it's fractured. So
There's like a
splint,
piece of it floating. You want to remove
it's not
it.
healing well. Yeah, you have to. If it heals on its own, but if they don't, you can remove those pieces. But you don't want to make that area angry because if you make it angry and it develops a bump, like a response that creates a bump, that bump can then put pressure or rub on the suspensory ligament and cause you problems.
Do you think that splints are more commonly caused by a horse kicking themselves or getting kicked by another natural cause versus caused by us? Do you think there's one way more that it leans more than the other? Or do you think most are caused by us?
Let's go back to caused by us. We don't give them the diseases necessarily, nor do we give them the injuries. So splints usually come up.
Well, yes and no. I agree we don't give them the diseases, but I don't disagree that we don't give them the injuries.
There. A splint can definitely be, and I think it's probably more commonly a response to the stress of work, like repetitive stress, than it is to a traumatic blow, but it can happen for both reasons. So the reason that you see it in young horses, they're starting in work, and so they're more common. There's a group, this was a long time ago, I think it was at UC Davis, and they were looking at that as a strengthening response, like when you first get those early splints on young horses. So
I don't understand what that means. A strengthening response?
You know how if you put stress on tissues, it gets stronger? When you work out and
So like they're saying that it's a
muscles.
good thing?
It could be a good thing. Yeah. Certainly that it's not a terrible thing. The horse is getting stronger.
But they don't go away.
They will remodel over time. Yes. You can have a horse that has a gigantic...
I haven't seen very many like situations with that.
I have seen many situations where you have a walnut-sized splint and then 6 years later, it almost isn't visible 10
And what does
later.
it take to do that?
It just remodels.
Okay, well, I have some
Okay.
notes to discuss.
Okay. I
Little
have
little
no idea what
things.
we're talking about really, so it's all you
Well,
today.
I don't
I'll
have a
just
big
tell you
topic.
I'll just tell you if your questions are dumb.
Okay, great. Keep me in check.
That's my
Um,
job.
okay, I want to talk about Faultless. If you don't know what Faultless is, it's a new 6-episode docuseries that was put out by it's a new production company, not one that I'm familiar with. It seems like the main producer is involved with Spruce Meadows, but a new docuseries following a group of elite athletes in show jumping across all different countries. They follow the Nations Cups. They go to the athletes' home farms. They meet the grooms. They give a little bit of an inside look at the home lives and then also just the different qualifications that it takes to compete in these different classes, what it's like to compete on a Nations Cup team, a little bit more about the chef de keep for all the different nations and how that works. And then it all accumulates in the Masters at Spruce Meadows.
Okay,
I
so
really liked it.
I was told to watch this by a couple people, and then you asked me to watch it. And all I could think about was the Road to the Maclay that you
Yeah.
watched when
Yeah.
over and over again when you were a small child. Cracked
Yeah.
me up.
I made a TikTok about Faultless and I said that. I was like, it's giving Road to Maclay vibes. Very similar. They must have modeled it after the Road to the Maclay just because of the way that it's all conducted. It's the exact same. Not that's uncommon for a docuseries, but very similar, talking about the qualifications, etc. Did you like it though?
Feelings
You
about
haven't
it.
finished it. You've only watched a
No,
couple episodes, right?
I haven't finished it. I think it's pretty well done. There are things that make me nervous about it. I think it's great to have something like that that general public can see about the sport. There was a particular shot of a horse coming over a jump with
Stop.
its mouth open
Stop. Oh
in
my God,
season 2,
Mom.
episode 2.
Okay, wait, hang on. Because I didn't say anything to you about this because I wanted you to watch this and us to be able to have this conversation. And you're not on TikTok, so you didn't see my TikTok. After I watched it, I posted a TikTok talking and I said, I was like, Faultless. I love it. It's giving Road to Maclay vibes. I think the inside scoop is so cool. My only feedback is stop doing slow-mo close-up videos of horses with their mouths wide open and their eyes bulging out of their heads. I was like, it's not a good look. It's not what we need for the sport. I don't know why we're doing this. And what it made me think of is when you hire a branding agency to come in and do a horse advertisement or something and they do a picture of a horse hanging its legs. I was just thinking, does the editor know horses? Why is this the shots that they're like, oh, this is really cool?
It's funny, and I mentioned that to Emma at our barn, who's the
Mm-hmm.
assistant trainer at our barn, and because she's the other person who told me I should watch it. I think they need to be careful about the horse that. And she goes, oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, funny you should mention that because my dad said the same thing. He was like, that doesn't look very good. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that concerns me a little bit.
Oh my gosh. I felt so the same way. And I also just want to preface, I really enjoyed the series. I thought it was really cool. And I don't want to discourage people in our sport from sharing about our sport because there are a lot of really good parts. And I think that they shared some really cool stories of riders that came from not very much and worked really hard to get to where they are and people that do care about their horses. And I think all of that's so good. But I don't that one piece of it, I'm dying. I wish I could speak to the producer just to understand what the thought process was there and who they had in the reviewing room watching that. I can't
Yep.
imagine why that would be something they would want to include. I'm so glad that you also saw that on your own. I really loved getting to see inside some of the European shows and the European barns. I've never gotten to travel to Europe for horse related things. So seeing that to me was really cool. Also seeing some of the differences in the way the programs are, I thought was really cool. The way the barns are, I really liked that. Also, the European shows I thought was cool. Getting to know some of the international riders, I really loved that. A lot of them, I hear their names, but I am not good with just names. It's not my, like, how my brain works. So getting to see them and see their families and see their horses, I loved that because I felt like I got to know top athletes a little bit better.
The things that was fun, similar to that for me, which was weird to realize, but weirdly, I've been involved in the flying of horses from paperwork, lab tests, doing part of things when clients import horses, but I have never, for some reason, directly been involved in flying a horse across the ocean. Been there for the loading and the unloading and the putting them in the boxes. I think it is, right? They show all that. And I thought it was really interesting. It's like, okay, I wouldn't have thought about the fact that I've not directly done that too. Actually, I think it would be interesting.
Yeah, it also was really cool for me. A couple of my really good friends are grooms for one of our team riders, and they're very involved in all of that and the traveling of the horses and the shipping and talking about the layover. And they're always gone in the summers over to the European horse shows. So I got to picture all the things that they've talked to me about. And I thought that was really cool. And also, they know all of those grooms, and that was cool. It was like I got to see a little inside look into their world that I never get to see, which I really liked that. And it gives me not, I already have such a huge respect for grooms in this sport. They are, I believe, 100% the backbone to this sport. But seeing the way that European teams treat and value their grooms is really cool. The conversations between the riders and grooms I thought were really cool, where riders were coming to the grooms and asking them their opinions on things and their thoughts on stuff. And I love to see that because those people know the horses so well and care about them so much.
I think that's been a shift actually at the higher level of the sport in the last maybe decade. The role of the groom or the appreciation for the grooms has really been elevated, which is a super good thing, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so important because those are the people that are taking care of the horses every single day. They're with them every moment. They know every change. They know every bump on their bodies, everything about their demeanor. They should be like respected and asked about stuff. I think that's so important. And I think that's cool that they showed that. Now okay, so here are my requests. Here are my faultless requests. I want a dressage version because I
Let's
just
get
think
a
that would
good
be
let's get a person in horse welfare, a good
okay,
dressage
yes.
person in the
First,
editing room for
yeah.
that one.
My first request for faultless is please put me on the editing team.
I
I
would
would
be
like to
better.
review. My second request is I want a dressage and I want an eventing. I want Boyd Martin, please. And I want Christian Simonson. Those are my two requests. And then after we do all the seasons at the top, the people competing at the top level, I want to start doing seasons down leveling into different demographics. Down leveling, I don't mean that in a derogatory way whatsoever, but just showing the different levels of the sport. And I think it would be really cool to have a docuseries highlighting all those different levels. Move down into the national Grand Prix level and then go to people that are doing the adults. I think it would be really good for the sport to highlight not just people competing for the most money at the top level, but show how that compares to other people who are doing this to have fun and have fun with horses. And I just think that would be like cool. So those are my
Then
requests.
there's our spin-off reality TV series, Life at the Barn. A group of women.
Yeah. And if you steal my idea and you don't include me in the editing process, Faultless team, I'm going to be really upset. Because I'm the only person to ever have this idea. First person, copyright, trademark.
So then
No,
we
I
can
do
do
think that would be really cool.
the keyboard warriors, right? Which,
Oh, yeah.
so to get off the faultless topic a little bit, was talking to me today about we're looking at sales ads for horses, right? And people will get on these sales ads and make derogatory comments about things. That horse looks so unhappy, and your noseband isn't fitted properly. And it's just,
You don't have to buy it.
and also, have you ever ridden a horse? Have you ridden a horse at this level? Do you actually know what you're talking about? I don't know. It's kind of
Yeah.
crazy.
I am all for us calling stuff that's not okay out and making rules that are better for horses and stuff, but the online hate of people has gotten so out of control.
Did you look at that thing I sent you that FBI is doing? They're starting an initiative to help control online bullying, really, is what it
Oh, that's
is.
cool.
Yeah,
That's
it's
really
kind of an
cool.
interesting thing. I sent you that thing.
I also think that it's going to take a second. I think FEI and USCF are trying to make things better, and it's going to take a second to earn the trust back from people that at those high levels and in the FEI barns, I don't think people quite understand how much is regulated and how close the watchful eye is. And so I do think that things like Faultless, for example, I would like them to highlight that side of it, highlight the FEI barn world. I know they were making it about riders and stuff. It just makes me excited because I think it's a great opportunity to show more people what's happening behind the scenes, showing the FEI and all of the involvement of the veterinarians and the stewards and the representatives and all of the stuff that goes into caring for these horses, because we do need to start to earn trust back in people that the horses are tended to and cared for well.
Yeah, I do get frustrated when I see FEI bashing comments. The FEI can be frustrating. Obviously, their website's hard to navigate, but I'm sorry. I really believe maybe I'm just naive or too much of a Pollyanna, but the FEI actually does want to prioritize horse welfare. They actually really do care. They're trying to do the right thing. I wish
And
we
I
could
think
support that more.
I do think that a lot of people at the top of this sport actually do as well. I really want to believe that.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that
for
there's
sure.
a middle ground in the sport that struggles because it's less about the sport and more about the business, where I think at the top level, it is actually really about the sport in a lot of ways. The middle area could use some support. I think the lower, I don't know how to say lower without sounding rude.
Entry level.
Entry
More.
level is pretty good. I just think there's this middle ground that needs to be worked out a little bit better. But everyone's working on it, and I do believe that.
The hard thing about the entry level is that the entry level typically enters into that middle level. So the entry level comes in loving the horses, wanting the horse welfare. They start out in more the middle ground barns. If they're lucky enough to get to find their way into a super top barn, then you're right. I think they do get exposed to better welfare. But if they find themselves more in a middle level business model, this is a commodity
Okay,
mentality place. Trouble.
here's my next topic. We had somebody come out to the barn yesterday to chat and see if it would be the right fit to come and join us. They're moving from one area down to San Diego, so they were looking for a new partnership. What do you think are good questions to ask when you're looking to move to a barn? Because I just want to say,
Oh.
I was really impressed with this woman. I was really impressed with the questions that she asked and the thoughtfulness in her questions. It was very kind, but she was very intentional in what she was asking.
I want to know what her questions were. If I went to a barn, I know what I would do. I would talk to people outside of the barn. I would talk to the veterinarians and the farriers, and more than one. I wouldn't just talk to the barn vet. I would talk to other professionals in the area.
That's you as a professional. Like
References.
you
No.
have that op, but okay, but here's what I'm going to say a little bit. That's not as accessible to everyone.
Okay.
I
You
think
might
I don't
not get as
disagree.
honest of an answer.
I don't disagree that would be a fantastic thing to do, certainly, but I just don't know if that's totally realistic for somebody who has a horse and wants to horse show and is moving cities and is just going to call a bunch of vets.
So, what did this lady ask Katie Mack?
Stupid question, Mom. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't write anything down because that would have been really weird if I was in this conversation. I was like, wait, hang on. Let me write this down for my podcast. But she asked about our team of people and about our farrier and our vets and body workers, that kind of stuff. But it wasn't just who do you use? It was, are they okay with me being around? And it was, do they communicate with one another? She asked, what do we feed? What's our viewpoint on supplementing? And what does a traditional horse eat? Those kinds of questions. I thought that was really cool. A lot of people don't ever ask that.
Did she ask about your
Um,
competition schedule?
yeah. Asked about the horses' weekly schedules. Just very intentional. And I appreciated it. I thought it was really cool.
Hopefully she'll come to the barn with a nice horse or three.
No, we don't need 3 horses. We just want nice people who care about their horses and want to be part of a good team. I will say our barn team is in a really good place. It's really fun out there right now.
Oh,
So
that's
shout out to everybody. Shout out to Crystal, who's going to come on the pod when she gets back from her vacation. I don't know what we're going to
Actually, you know
talk
what?
about.
We have a good team. We have a really nice atmosphere at our barn right now, too. Just nice people who are nice to each other. In fact, I had a long conversation today with a girl who I've known since she was in high school. She's now in her 40s. The last time I saw her was when she was going off to college. But
Wow.
I didn't realize this. I rode with her today, and Brooke mentioned, I don't know if you know so and so's backstory, but she had a very similar traumatic experience to mine. And we had a long conversation in the tack room where I tried to offer all the things that I've done and how I've worked through it. And it's nice to have
It's
those kind of,
nice.
just people in the barn that you can interact with. Felt
Yeah.
bad for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I pop chipped yesterday, jump schooling, and I have a really hard time when I make mistakes like that. I get really frustrated with myself, mainly because I feel really bad for the horse. I feel really bad putting them in a bad position, and I get really heady about it, and I have a really hard time. And today, one of our clients, I could just tell, just was just not feeling like her greatest. So after her lesson, when she left, I sent her the video of me pop chipping yesterday, and I said, here's me yesterday. That's all I said. And she responded, she's like, LOL, I actually feel so much better. But it is nice to have people that you can talk with about stuff like that and have a good group and a good crew. And it is so important to have a good barn community, especially
See
like
the
for me, I'm
video?
out there all day long. Do you
I
want to
want to
see the
see you.
video?
I want to see you pop chipping. Do you want to know something funny? I actually knew that you'd had a rough couple of days of riding because I talked to Jamie today. She said, yeah, Katie had a rough ride. Katie's pretty upset. She had a rough day riding. I can't remember. I don't know what horse it
Wait,
was. And I was like,
that's
oh,
so
I had a
funny.
great week of riding. I've had a really good week. We have a new
I
strategy for me this week.
Oh, that's good. I'm in a stage where I'm trying to, I don't want to say stagnant, but I'm going to say stagnant. I've been pretty stagnant in my writing for a really long time, just because I haven't had much consistent help in a really long time. And Crystal, because she's literally the greatest person ever. I feel awkward talking about her on here because I know she listens, but whatever. She's really helping me. So I'm changing a little bit about the way that I'm writing because I'm trying to get better and I'm really dedicated to it and I really want to. But it's hard. It's really hard to accept making changes, to try new things, to not get too down on yourself when you make mistakes. I have a really hard time with it.
Change in how you ride. I talked to you about this last week. I watched videos of myself and I decided I really needed to change my posture, which would then change my balance and change my just change a lot of things about the mechanics of how I'm riding. I've realized that I need to do this. But sometimes when you do that, it screws everything up and then you feel like you can't ride at all. The first couple of days it was so sore. And B, I felt like I could do nothing. I couldn't do it. It's getting better now. And I'm seeing some improvement because of it.
Yeah, position changes. When you ride really consistently, making little position changes can be really hard. I have a tendency to get to the jump and soften everything. do nothing right at the jump. And so I am working on not doing that as much and keeping my leg on at the base of the jump and using my calf more and using my abs to hold myself. And it's just, I'm sure when I was younger, I did that more, but it's been a little bit since I've really worked on myself. So it sounds like nothing, but it is, especially when you're riding younger horses and stuff, it's hard to work on yourself and work on a horse at the same time. And that's where
Right. That's it
I
right
have
there.
a
You can
hard
work on
time.
yourself and then you have to just hope the horse complies a
And
little bit
this
at
is
a time.
actually another interesting thing from our talk with that woman yesterday. She was asking about philosophy on moving up. What
Yeah,
your
sure.
philosophy on moving people up levels, and Crystal was saying, she was like, I think that it can be really beneficial. I'm going to just use the jumpers for example. When you're ready to move up to the meter 20, and this is if you have the opportunity, right? This isn't feasible for everyone, but if you could lease something for a year that has done the meter 20 consistently and can help you get comfortable there, you can focus on yourself, a horse that knows its job. And then if you're looking to purchase something, then you can buy something maybe a little bit younger, but at least you have the confidence yourself of, I've done this, I know what to do. Of course, you're still going to be learning, but I just think that's really important if you think about it, to have something that you can focus on yourself with, you can gain confidence, and then you can help a horse get that confidence.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys do this or not, but another thing, like obviously the schoolmaster, right? But in dressage, one of the things as far as moving up, you're always at home, you're working at a higher level than what you're competing at. For example, you might be working the Precinct George and competing at third level. So it you have
Yeah.
to, yeah, just something to think about. I mentioned that we've made a little shift because we've decided my lease is ending early as the gal is coming back a little bit early and my challenges with competing. We've decided I'm not going to continue to try to do the rest of the season, like to compete at championships. So at home, we're going to work on the higher level stuff, which has been so much fun. I'm actually glad to make this shift, but
Yeah. I think one thing that's hard with jumping is your horse only has so many big jumps in them. So
right,
when you're moving up to competing Grand Prix or whatever, you don't want to be jump schooling meter 40 every week or meter 45
right,
every week, right? It's just
right.
not,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
maybe
different.
for some horses that's right, but for most, I would say the preservation of the horse, you really do have to think about with practicing.
Yeah.
Okay, I
That's
have one
why
more thought that actually kind of aligns with that. One of my notes that I wrote down was, and I don't have an answer to this, it's more of like a thought that I had, that it's something I'm thinking about. But when your horse does something well, when you're practicing a challenging exercise and your horse does it well, but you need more practice doing it, and how to balance that, because I think a horse that's doing something well and you're just drilling it and making them do it again and again and again, it's not necessarily fair to the horse, but you might be needing that practice, right?
yeah, I
And
have a close out on that thought, actually.
okay.
I will never forget, this is going to take us back to our heart horse, to Ellie, when your trainer said the hardest time in Ellie's life is right now because Ellie was having to jump around big jumps because you needed to jump around the big jumps. Ellie could do it. Ellie didn't need to do that. You needed to do that. And he made that comment. That's the hardest time in the horse's life is when they have to train the rider and they have to. So that's why that goes along with why the rider should go get trained on a horse that knows the job because then that horse, that schoolmaster can just do it and do it. It's not hard for them. They're not learning it. They're teaching the rider. It's a different job than bringing the horse up the levels.
Yeah, that's fair. I just think it's still, even when you're on, I actually had no idea of that story. I've never heard that before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even when you are on a schoolmaster, though, I do think it's still, or a horse that knows their job. I don't think schoolmaster is always fair because you have to ride every horse. Every horse requires you to ride it. I think, though, that it's still important to recognize my horse has done this well. I'm working on this myself. And I don't know what my thought is there, but rewarding them, giving them, like, acknowledging that they're doing a good job. I don't know. But I think it's important just to even think about it, to have that thought in your mind. Having the
Yeah.
awareness, I think it's important. It was something I was thinking about while I was practicing and all
Always
my
do.
horse guilt that I have.
Here's a take home. There's where you can do visual practice, which is actually really effective. Like really correctly done visualization, which helps train you without having to ask the horse to do it over and over again.
Yeah. I don't know if that's gonna help me with seeing distances that aren't pulling out of the corner, but I'll
You know what,
practice.
Katie? Don't underestimate that. It's
Oh, Mom,
really
it's what I picture
powerful.
every night before bed. I think
You
of
do
jumping
you
a course every night before bed, and I think about leaving a stride out of a short turn every single night before bed,
and do
and then I
you
get on
do
the
it?
next day.
Okay, stop interrupting me. Do you do it in the exact time that it's happening? Do you play it out like it's actually happening
Yeah, stride by
and
stride.
not just think it through?
Yeah, stride by stride.
We'll
What
keep
I'm
doing
doing
it
with my
because it might
left
help you.
leg versus my right leg, whether I'm coming off of a left turn or a right turn. I make a whole course in my head. It's in the Grand Prix field at Thermal.
Okay, keep doing it because it's probably helping you
Just
more
keep
than you
going.
think. And have it
Okay.
be
Okay.
perfect. Always make it be perfect.
Sometimes I
I think
chip
there's
in my
no.
imagination.
Yeah, don't chip. Don't pop chip in your imagining. Oh
It's
my
usually the
gosh. Okay.
combinations.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely don't do that. Put two in a.
Mom, I'm so hot right now. I have to call it. It's boiling in this house. I need to step outside.
Okay, I'm gonna go upstairs and go out on the deck and hang out, which
Okay.
is my golden
You gonna go
hour
have a beer?
evening. My favorite thing. It's my favorite part of the day.
I'm gonna go have Henry's surfing. I'm gonna go have an NA beer in the yard with the dogs, and then we're gonna get sushi.
Okay. I'm gonna go have a beer on the deck with Dad and the dogs, and then we're gonna eat pizza.
Ooh, yum. Okay, love you.
All right. Love you too. Bye.
Bye. All right. Love you guys.
Love you too. Bye.